Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today we're going to go over ideas that came out from this wonderful and powerful Mercury retrograde. We still have one more week to go before it goes direct. So this is a great time to do a little review of the things that have been coming up for us to review, analyze, and in order to take action, we need a business plan. So one thing leads to another. This is why time is so important when it comes to, like call to action, right? If you take a call to action when you're confused, then the outcome will come out all confused, right? And blurry. So it's best to take call to action once you've implemented and analyzed everything. And now the picture is complete. So let's get into it. So what have I been going through during the Mercury retrograde? I have been going through what are my skills? Who am I? What can I provide to the world, right? So far, I have been on social media for 4 years now, creating videos and loving it. This is truly a new discovered passion of mine that I've dabbled in, and now I really enjoy doing this, which is completely different from my past. And this is what I've been thinking about during this wonderful, wonderful, and powerful Mercury retrograde. So, my skills. What are my skills? What have I been doing for 20 years in all different types of industries from all different types of countries, right? My skills are accounting, human resource, administration, that I'm number one, logistics, as I've worked for a lot of manufacturing company, Korean, Chinese, I've worked for telecom, name it, I've done it. So that is a lot of import export. So logistics, warehouse management. Then I've created a lot of events and, marketing and consulting. So this is what I've been doing for 20 years in what we would call the 3D. I did a lot of white collar job because it pays better and you're in an office all day. However, deep down inside, I was always blue collar. I always liked to go outside. I always liked, if somebody had to deliver a mail, I'd be like, oh, I'll go for it, because it would give me a chance to go drive outside or go to the post office or whatever, get out of the office, And I did a few blue collar job as well. It's just that blue collar is more difficult on the body. So after doing, a few blue collar job, I decided to go into white collar and, like work in call centers and things like that, which is a easier on the body type of job. So as you can see, I have experience in both. But my favorite out of the entire business world was to connect with the people, especially, the different types of generations, the old generation, the middle generation, the newcomers from schools. We used to have interns. So pretty much connecting all day with these people, because when you work for a large corporation, you have to speak to so many people in order to get, tasks done. So that was the connection. I enjoyed speaking to people a lot. And my favorite thing to do out of all these tasks that I named was event coordination, event planning. Because what do you do in a corporation, when you have a lot of employees that work a lot for you? You thank them, right? So you cater food, once in a while you cover food, once in a while, like all the birthdays we would celebrate, but once in a while we would have like, baby showers and stuff like that. You try to accommodate, you try to be there for them because they're working hard for you. So I noticed that, a lot of different events in different companies that I would manage. However, SpaceX to me was the funnest. So I remember the largest group I had sent was 400 people. I got 350 confirmed for a party. So I rented a park I got all the permits, the insurance, whatever administrative paperwork you have to do, and got a few food trucks. Went to Costco, got a bunch of coolers, filled them up. They drink stuff from Costco, people at SpaceX. I'm not talking about the spiritual people. This is regular companies. So, full of stuff. We would give stuff away at the park, and we would entertain everybody. So this would increase people's vibration. I shouldn't play with the paper. I just noticed it's making noise. This will play with people's vibration and it would increase, right? So you work, you work. And then 2 months later, oh, great, we have a paintball event. I did that. There's an incredible paintball location here. It looks like a stage. You have like one stage, it's cowboy. You have another stage, it's army. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun. It's very professionally done. So, over the weekend, we did that. We went paintballing. Incredible times. Another event I threw was go-karting. There's a large go-kart area as well here, and we had 4 to 5 groups, and we went go-karting. So it's a lot of fun. So the park, I remember, a lot of people were really happy at the park. It was an incredible event, and that was the largest. 400 invites, 350 heads confirmed. So I was actually thinking, like if that's the favorite thing for me to do, then maybe I should just go full time into throwing events. So pretty much it wouldn't just be entertainment because I'm not in the entertainment business. Like I don't want to go to Hollywood and become an entertainer, right? However, what I want to do is create a platform for the life coaches that will set up a foundation for the life coaches to have a stage and to speak directly with their audience. Because out of everything I have attended, in my opinion, the most fun events are events where you're having a great time and you're learning. Okay? So not to separate this. Like not to just go to a festival and have a great time, right? Because then when you come back, you're high vibe, but you just had a great time. When you go to a festival and you're high vibe and you're learning, that's a exponential vibe surge. I notice that every time. Like when I went to the Teal Swan and Greg Braden book signing in Vegas, that was incredible. It was a book signing, meet and greet, and you had the audience, live questions. And I remember I went on the stage and I felt really comfortable with Teal Swan. I remember taking the mic and I was making her audience laugh. I remember I was like, oh, this is so easy. I remember telling that to myself. So I'm not shy with the microphone. I've taken the microphone many times in companies for like fire drills and stuff like that. You got to manage, you got to make sure everyone's out, everyone's logged in on the papers and stuff. All the team leads have their groups, it's a lot of people management. So I'm really good at a lot of people management, right? So you take the event, you create a stage for the life coaches and their audiences, right? You have booths in the back for the artists. They can display their art or they can display their creation. If you have like some type of invention, you come in and display it there. Or it can be as simple as you're physically an artist and you have clothing, like clothing that are not, from the mainstream world, like costumes. You want to come and show your costume in booths. So it's pretty much a platform for a certain type of frequency that I want to create. And I will log it, on my videos so people can follow and see how I create it. Once they see how I create this, vibe pumping machine, they can duplicate my strategy because they'll be able to follow my videos and see how I did it. I've done events many, many times. It's not a question of difficultness. It's a question of a lot of back and forth, a lot of administrative work. Like you have to go to the city hall, get the permits. If it's delayed, you have to, get a lawyer, see how you can go, and fix the delay, whatever. Like at the end of the day, all they can do is just delay. But they can't stop me from getting a permit to throw an event, So that's not the issue. The issue is there's just so much work behind it that a lot of people don't have time to dedicate to that. This is a full-time job and you need experience. So, that is something that I have experience, and the people that I follow have incredible frequency. I actually went and tried to clean up. And to be honest, I didn't have anyone to remove. So what am I, like, following 300 people? So I'm not saying I'm going to send an invite to 300 people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm going to pick like 6 headliners, like 6 life coaches. I definitely need one sponsor, and I'm going to get that. I'll find an investor sponsor. I'll approach people for that as well. So I'm approaching life coaches, right? I'm approaching sponsor. I'm going to rent a stage. I'm going to rent seats. I'm going to get speakers and a microphone. I think I can get sponsorship for that. If, they want to display their products through us, that's a great way of getting sponsorship through, for speakers and mics. Then I have a shade guy. So the guy, when I went to Burning Man, I went with a group. Their shades are incredible and it's professional. They put up shade in the middle of nowhere in Burning Man. And again, they did a great job. So I have a shade guy. Then I'm going to hire like a DJ. I don't want a DJ. I love music, but I love to just spontaneously listening to music. Like, I don't want to work as a DJ. So I would actually hire a DJ. I would hire catering of food trucks. I'll hire security, people at the door to make sure that, they make sure everyone's seated in their seats. And, I have videographer friends. I have some friends that were the camera guy for Beyonce's videos, so I can always call them super, super cool, down to earth people. I don't work with Hollywood ego. They're super, super cool, down to earth. I can also, hire YouTubers like German in Venice. That guy goes and shoots everything anyway. So, we can hire him and his friends, and that can be like our promotion, right? So it would be very easy. I would basically take care of all the logistics and create a platform. All I would need is I would actually approach 6 to 8 life coaches that I'm going to select and send them an invite first. If they're interested, wonderful. If they're not, then I'm going to do like an open application for whoever that wants and is interested, because I'm going to use the headliners as my promoters, right? So I'm going to send you a link for the event and you're going to promote it on your channel. So let's say I'm talking about to Nick or Thor or whatever, right? And I'm like, hey, you guys are in. All right, great. Here's a link. You send it to your audience. They go and they purchase the ticket directly. Event Tribe, whatever. I'll create graphics, marketing. I'll put like everyone's headliners' heads on it. I can do that. That's fine, right? And then you send it to your audience. They book and it's done. Once they purchase the ticket through credit card, I manage everything. And don't worry, we'll all have contracts. And I'm going to use like contracts like Bobo words. I'm not going to make it super complicated like they are outside. I'm going to be like, me give this to you and this is the breakdown. It's going to be super easy contracts, okay? So don't worry about that. Everyone's going to have their contracts, because we need contracts for the breakdown of the prices, because I'm going to be very open. I looked into it. Renting the entire pier of Santa Monica. Santa Monica is a Stargate, okay? And there's a reason why I live in LA. To me, this is a Stargate. The vibe here is incredible. I love to park in Venice Beach and walk all the way to Santa Monica Pier. I don't know why. It calls me every time. It's 3 miles and it's very long, but I enjoy it every time. There is a certain vibe on that Santa Monica Pier. And I can rent the whole pier for $30,000. I looked into it. And if not, we can start with a quarter of a pier. If I have a lot of headliners, I can, put it over 2 days, right? So this can go unlimitless, all right? I am creating a machine pumping of high vibration. People are going to come. They're all going to submit their questions. Whenever they buy a ticket, I want them to submit their questions in advance. We're not going to just point. I'm going to want people to have their answer, their questions answered. Once you're satisfied with your life coach, then you can go to the booths and go to the, catering and the food and the DJ and have a great time, right? Then when your next speaker, let's say Thor is next. Well, I'm here for Thor. So then I go for Thor and I listen to him and I have my question, So it's wonderful. It's like school meets festival. So we hit all category. We hit artists, we save them. We have a platform for the life coaches, right? So we turn the life coaches into rock stars, because they should be our modern rock stars. Why just look good, right? These people look good are super spiritual, super advanced. They can help people. They're coaching. These, in my opinion, should be the new rock stars, the new leaders, right? We just got a wave of, unfortunate events. So now Hollywood's going down. We can take over Hollywood. I live right here. Worst case, I heard that the Santa Monica government is a little corrupted. Worst case, they look at this video and they're like, we're not going to give you the pier. I have lawyer friends. They can't not give me a permit. All they can do is delay it and then I figure out how to fix it. That's all they can do. But let's say they're a pain and they don't want to give it to me. I find a place in Hollywood. We take over Hollywood. Trust me, California, we're not missing space. Long Beach, like any pier out there, I can rent. The venue is not important. All of this is just massive, massive amount of research that I can do. But so it's not the location. It's not like, oh, they're not going to give us the pier now. We can't do it at the pier. But I'm just giving you the pier as an idea. Imagine you pay like $100, which is nothing. Concerts today are $100, right? You pay $100, you go in, you sit down, you get your questions met, then you go, there's food, there's booths, if you want to buy clothing, like, oh my God, right? Then you go sun gazing, you go to the pier, you go to the next to the amusement parks, whatever, you go to the Ferris wheel, you do whatever you want, sun gaze, right? Have a DJ there so we have music. Eventually, when we become like true rock stars, I'll have fireworks. Oh yeah, we'll finish the show with fireworks, right? Just imagine. I can go so far with this, so far, right? 400 people I invited. That was the big. I can definitely manage. A quarter of the pier takes 2,000 people, right? So a quarter of a pier, 2,000, the whole pier even more. So it's not even a question. I'm not going to start with the whole pier, but I'm just giving you an idea of how far this can go. So not only that we're helping people, we're also artists and in the entertainment business. Listen, I was thinking about it. This is why I needed a bridge, right? I come from the 3D world. I threw myself into the social media world, right? But I'm not an artist. I'm not a content creator full-time person. That's not what I am. And for me to dedicate all my time to make it on social media, if you ask me, it's a huge waste. And this is why I can see subconsciously my body doesn't want to invest my entire livelihood onto social media. It's not what I want to do. I'm not trying to be a YouTuber. At the end of the day, that's not what I'm trying to be. I want to take my 20 years of experience and create the best platform for life coaches out there and create a festival. And what do I do for a living? I throw parties. Win-win situation. Win-win situation for everybody. And whoever wants can get a booth. I know I'll break down the square footage, how big the booths that I'm going to rent are going to be. And then I'm going to see how many I can squeeze onto the quarter that we're going to rent. Listen, there's also a parking right there, right in front. So it's the pier. I'm not going to make slides. I don't have time for that, but I'll just edit. So there's the pier, right? You have the firefighter, police, whatever at the end with the restaurants. You have all the restaurants, the amusement park, the restaurants, right? Behind that, you have a parking lot. And right next to it, that's where the stage is. So it's, you can't get better location than that. And you understand for every single person's social media, the videography is going to be incredible. It'll be self-promoting to see yourself on the pier in a wonderful festival like that as a life coach. So I'm going to take regular Joes and turn them into rock stars. And that's what I want to do. So, I already have the people that I want in mind. But pretty much I want to pick 6 to 8 headliners. And if I can put it over 2 days, great. And if not, I put it over 1 day and we start small. Trust me, Burning Man, it was just a few people on the beach burning a guy. And that's how the whole idea started. So trust me when I tell you, I'll never get sold out. I'll never get bite out or however that expression is. And trust me when I tell you, every single application will get reviewed by me. Because I read energy. Okay, so if somebody comes in and their energy is like a cancer, I will get rid of them. Absolutely. Because I cannot have one person ruin, the vibration for the rest of the people. So again, I will be reaching out to people pretty shortly. I just have to calculate a few things, reach out to, incorporate my business as well, because I'm going to incorporate a entertainment business now. So, I'm covered for entertainment insurance. So anyways, I don't need to get into those types of details, but I'll do whatever I need to do from my end. From your end, I just would like to see one thing. If I'm following you and you think this is a great idea, right? In your videos, like show me some type of like, yay, sign, like, great idea. I just would like to see visually if people would be interested. Because I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna do it. But if I just see like two people go like, yay, I'm still gonna do it. I don't care. But I would love to see what people think about this. Okay? So again, we're taking over Hollywood, right? Why not? The infrastructure is already there. The reputation's already there. All the actors are coming from here. So as Hollywood goes down, we go up and we take over the world. And then we can go on tour. Like once I automate this, and also we can do this often. It doesn't have to be like once a year. We can do this like every 3 months or whatever. Once I automate this and I have my people all in place, you understand we can take this show on the road, right? We can like go to Europe and do this. I understand I'm going ahead of myself, but this is why, I cannot get entangled with anybody at the moment, because this is an incredible, huge project that's going to take my entire time, and in my entire funding. Like I'm going to probably have to reach out to a few sponsors, but I'll fund this in advance. And then when we sell the tickets, everyone's covered. And once the show is done, I'll do like a profit sharing thing. The money from the booths, I'm going to be renting the booth. So trust me, like we're all going to be winners. Okay. I'm not here to compete, and I will show you how you can run a company with zero competition. You're going to see how incredible it's going to exponentially grow. When you're not competing and you have synergy, like I said, if I'm following you, you're pretty much in, If you have synergy and you're an artist and you want to increase the vibration, you understand, you're in. So that's going to pump vibration onto a Stargate in Santa Monica or right next to the water, right? Pump that vibration into the water, the music, clean that stuff out. Let's frequency this, this area back to how it used to be. There's so many things we can do in order to bring back, and not only that, to improve, right? So it's not just rebuilding. Like, great job, Rick Russo. He's rebuilding the Palisades. I'm following him. Great job, and he's so innovative. He's like, why are we putting phone lines when we can put? Yes, absolutely, Mr. Rick Russo. I worked for a Korean telecommunication company, SK Telesys. That company is number one, in Korea. And yes, the Asians know exactly what advanced telecommunication looks like, because that's how it is over there. And what they do is they bring this information here. So trust me when I tell you, all you got to do is send a bid. And I'm not telling this to Rick Russo. I'm just telling this to people. You send a bid out. You basically say, I have to fix an entire city from scratch. What is the best, telecommunication? You have 5 to 10 companies that give you their business plan. If you give us the bid, this is how much it would cost. This is what we would do. And you pick the best solution. Absolutely right. That's how you use a, reconstructive strategy. You don't go to old ways. But the city hall, they're not, the city hall is the city hall. They're not going to come up with these ideas, right? You need a leader to come up with these ideas, and he's doing a great job. So again, if Rick Russo is successful to rebuild the Palisades, you understand they cannot build the smart city. Right? So that's pretty much what it is. Wave 1 is doing a great job, okay? But wave 1 is 3D going to 5D. Wave 2 is already 5D. So I believe me as, between wave 1 and wave 2, I am a wonderful support. I don't want to be, a hot shot in front of the stage. That's not what I am. I am the person that manages and organizes everything. I'm the director, I don't want to be the star in front of the stage, but I'll host people because I'm good with the microphone. I'll make people laugh, I'll make sure everyone's seated and everyone's comfortable, that I can do over the mic, but I don't want to be a rock star. And I can do life coaching eventually, I'll watch how everyone does, and then eventually I can do my own window, but in the beginning, that's not what I want to focus. I have my coaches. You guys are doing great. There's a reason why you have 100,000 followers, keep up the great job. What I'm good at, I'm gonna show you. All I can do is show you with time. So as you can see, this is a wonderful idea. Nobody can stop me because I've thrown events all the time. Absolutely nothing can stop me from picking the phone and calling my video guy, my shade guy, you know. So don't worry about that. There's endless people I can reach out to, even on Instagram, for help. So again, get ready. We're gonna create a better Burning Man. It's gonna be Burning Man with money. So pretty much Burning Man meets convention center, right? The 3D does convention centers. Everything's money, right? Burning Man, everything's free. So these two extremes are not good. We combine them, right? And then we save the artists, we pump the life coaches, and we switcheroo the energy. That's all it is. So I'm really excited, as you can see, because now finally I can do what I'm good at. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at managing a company. And this is why I got stuck, because for 20 years I've had people give me a company, right? They're like, here you go. And the last one was SpaceX. Here you go. So I was managing 4 departments while I was throwing that park party. That was one of the many things I was juggling. As we're having interns, as I had to set up computers for the new people, for the new employees, for, hey, listen, 10,000 people, you're constantly working. So that park thing I threw, that was just out of nowhere compared to the things I was doing. So for me, if I dedicate full time, this can be incredible. So anyways, I'm really excited. I hope everyone's excited. I'm gonna be busy for a while, but I'll keep everyone posted on my progress as I go, because I want to show the world how to create a party. I do. And they can take that blueprint and create it in their own city. Create, call your own city hall, get these permits. It's going to be different in Canada. It's going to be different in Australia. It's going to be different everywhere. But at least they're going to see, because when you talk like this to people, they're like, oh my God, getting permits, it's so hard. It's so, it does look intimidating. It does, because there's so much to it. It's a lot of coordination. And you have to double check everything so the shipments, nothing is late. It's a very, very tedious task, but it's doable. And once I document it, everyone's going to see how doable it is. So again, what are we creating? A high vibe pumping machine. So thank you to all the people I'm following. Keep up the great message. And you see, we've learned to work all of us together. So, it's not because we have conflict. You can have a different opinion, my different opinion, no problem. I have no problem working with people. And I've worked with all types of behaviors and all types of attitudes and egos or whatever. That's not the issue. It's the frequency, right? It's the Christ consciousness frequency, right? If I'm following you, you have the Christ conscious frequency. If right now I'm following you, let me say it again, you have the Christ consciousness frequency. I don't follow people that make me uncomfortable. I don't. So your frequency, the default frequency, is good. So here's the thing, what people don't understand. It's the intentions, right? It's all about the heart. So the default frequency is there. I can, yell suddenly, burst up with like curses, right? I just changed the frequency for like a second, right? But then I go back to my frequency, right? So it's not about being perfect, because we're going to give each other ideas. We're going to bounce back opinions. We're going to, sometimes clash, right? That's not the issue. It's the frequency, right? So I tend to work very well with male or female that have developed their feminine side. And all the guys that I follow, they have incredible balance with their feminine side. Some of them might look rugged on the outside, but they're teddy bears on the inside, So to me, that's what it is. It's about the frequency. Am I comfortable just sitting next to this person? How's the vibe, right? If they're super positive, super, of course, I'm going to love sitting next to them. So again, it's not about the actions. It's about the frequency. What is the default frequency? And that's what it's going to be this festival. The default frequency of the people that are going to be there, it's going to be Christ consciousness type. And as we're pumping that Christ consciousness frequency, it's going to propagate. It's going to echo out. And then when people come to the festival, they're going to be like, okay, well, one looks like Tarzan. The other one looks, like a rock star. The other one looks like a Viking. The other one looks, yeah, that's the thing. We all look different. We all have a different outer costume, but we all have the same Christ frequency. right? So people are going to be able to relate. And trust me when I tell you, our headliners are going to be approachable. Okay? No of running after the show, huh? And you know who I'm talking about. I actually paid tickets and I was supposed to speak to the, mingle with the speakers for an hour. And two people, I'm not going to name who, but two people after the show, they ran out of the room like it was on fire. Okay? Peter Crone, he didn't. All 4 times he stayed. So good job, Peter Crone, on that. I appreciate it. He actually stayed until everyone's questions were answered and everyone was done meeting and greeting him. Okay? But he's the only one that did that. Everyone else left, ran out of the room. So trust me when I tell you, when the speaker is done with their people, I want them to go near the booths and mingle. Mingle so people can approach you. We can approach the rock stars. They're paying for it. Worst case, if you don't want me to charge like $100 a ticket, we can talk more about that. If you want it to be 200, let's say, if your time is precious or whatever. But I think we should charge $100 to start, or approximately $100. Like that's what concerts are. That's what events are. And if they want to come to both events, it's 100 per day. So if they want to come to, let's say, both days, it's 200. If they want to come for one day, it's 100. I think this is affordable. This is pretty much what, the groups that I hang out with do. And they throw really large parties, but they throw parties in the middle of nowhere because they have substances and drinks and stuff like that. But I'm not going to have that problem because I'm not there to provide alcohol or drugs or whatever that's not what I'm there to do. So I don't need special permits, but that's why these people cannot do parties out in the open, because of the substance situation, So that's why normally they're in the woods or on the beaches, they throw parties on the beach all night. But that's not what I can do because for me, it's going to have to be a professional event, right? So again, I'm throwing it out there, Burning Man 2.0, we're taking over, life coaches, all right? Just be ready. If you're a life coach, be ready. And for me, the reason I got on YouTube was Aaron Doughty and Victor Otto. Okay, so right there, I'm gonna put it out there. I want them to be there. They're the reason I became a life coach. They're the reason I went onto YouTube. And I never spoke to them. I just bought their package so I can understand operations while I was practicing with the camera. So them I never spoke to. So I don't know how they are. But I will definitely want them to be there, So again, I'm looking forward to implementing this wonderful business plan. Thank you very much, and on to the next one. Ciao.